Hello, everyone. Today, little reading is actually a story for children. My hope was to teach children through different fairy tales about shamanism and its practice, as all shamans are animists. They believe everything is alive and has life and has spirit. And what a lovely world to live in like that. So, this story is about a place that myself and my grandchildren go to in a journey. So, in the shamanic journey, we travel out of time and we have these adventures. It's kind of like lucid dreaming, only a little different. You're in much more control. So, if you'd like to know more about shamanism, you can visit my website at shaman-inspirit.com. Meanwhile, I hope you enjoy this little story, and here we go. It's called A Journey to the Planet of Enchantment. It started out with a big bang, not unlike garbage can lids clanging together. Clang, clang, clang. I was uncertain whether it was an alarm being sounded or an attempt at music. As we came through the wormhole, far enough to see, we spied a large eagle with cymbal-like metal discs in each talon, hovering and banging. It was all he could do to stay aloft and play this only one musical note. Clang, clang, clang. We sauntered over to him in the hopes of finding out where we were and what was going on. As we approached, he caught a glimpse of us and immediately dropped the cymbals. We must have startled him, and he looked at us and said, "Would you mind, ever so, and hand me my cymbals?" I reached down and saw that the handles were just right for talons, having clumps of metal to grab onto. And as I was helping him get himself hooked up again, I asked, "Where are we?" He said, "Whatever do you mean?" "Well, I mean, we're new here. We arrived from a wormhole that transports us all over the galaxy, and we're never sure on these journeys where we'll end up." He looked at me with uncertainty and said, "You're on the planet of enchantment, where nothing is as it seems. And I might add, everyone here is a shapeshifter." With that, he changed before our eyes into an old shaman dressed in a black leather jacket with long fringe, a red cowboy hat with eagle feathers on the side, tight black leather pants, and red cowboy boots. We all looked at each other, started laughing, and said in unison, "Finally, we get to be on a whole planet of shapeshifters. We wondered where they came from. This is going to be quite an adventure." The only polite thing to say next was, "May we start over with hello? And what is your name?" He said, "My name is Seymour, as in how much you can see." What a great name, and so perfect for a shaman who shapeshifts into an eagle. Seymour then said, "We heard you were coming. The news came from the wormhole. It spoke your names as our new guests of arrival." We thanked him for welcoming us, and we appreciated being allowed to wander around, discovering new information on this place we've only dreamed of coming to in person. We all went around and introduced ourselves formally. "I am Soraya, and these are my grandchildren, Max, Noah, Seth, and Sarah, as well as our dog Spirit." We decided to finally take him along, as he was so lonely for us when we're gone. The shaman looked at all of us in the eye, and then immediately looked into Spirit's eyes, and as far as I could tell, there was a major conversation going on. When Seymour stood up, he said, "Since you are in the land of enchantment, where nothing is as it seems, your dog would like to shapeshift. What do you think?" I said, "Spirit has always had a mind of his own, and I'm curious to see what turns up. So sure, go ahead." Then he blew into Spirit's ear, while Spirit closed his eyes in great concentration, and in what seemed like a wink of an eye, there was a teenager standing next to me with reddish blonde hair, yellow eyes, and a great smile. That was Spirit, all right. I asked Spirit what it was like, and he said, magic. One moment I was your dog, and now I'm this boy. I could feel the cells in my body start to shake or vibrate. Then they got going so fast I couldn't keep up with it. And the next thing you know, I'm here, and it's like my spirit or soul is still a dog, but I'm in a human body. My sense of smell has changed. Smells aren't as intense, and yet my eyesight is much better. It's all quite strange and exciting. I wondered for a moment what I would choose to shape into. And as I thought that thought, Seymour read my mind and said, not now, but I promise before you leave here, we can think about it. I said, okay. I asked, what did you prefer to be? And Spirit just winked and said, well, you'll have to wait and see. I thanked Seymour and asked him where a good place to start our adventure would be, and he pointed us toward the forest just ahead and told us to talk to everything and everyone, as all things have spirit and infinite possibility. He added, I will be watching over you, as he immediately shapeshifted into an eagle and started flying towards the forest. We all headed out in the direction of the forest with a new sense of adventure. We've been waiting to get to a land of shapeshifters, as we all knew how to do this already, and always wanted to know more about it and meet others who lived their lives this way. I was watching as my grandchildren and Spirit ran way ahead and talked to the flowers and grasses along the way. They stopped at the forest's edge, waiting for me. The first amazing figure that caught our eyes was a very rough and tumble river, with beautiful rounded rocks on its banks. We all wondered out loud what this was about. Was it really a river, or was it an illusion of a river? We all asked the river about itself. The river replied, I truly am the waters of life. I don't shapeshift as others do. I provide the sustenance for all things to grow and be nourished. My job is big enough in this form. I am happy to slow myself down so you may play with me. That's all we had to hear, and off we ran into the water, squealing with glee. The water was clear, crystal blue, a bit chilly, and somehow we felt as if we were being loved by the water surrounding us. That was an amazing feeling, glowing in love energy, being one with the water, as if we were the water too. I could see my grandchildren melting into the water and learning lessons from the water about sharing, caring, and protecting the integrity of the water. Spirit never really liked the water as a dog, so he was a bit shy at first. But the water talked him into playing with him, betting him that he couldn't swim across and beat the children to the other side. Spirit, being the wild one that he was, could never pass up a bet and dove right in, and the water engulfed him in this beautiful wave that just lifted him over the grandchildren and landed him onto the other bank with them. He loved it and had to jump back in to get that experience again. Spirit said he felt the water become part of him and told him that water was his friend and not to be afraid. Practice swimming and enjoy the energy of water, as it will open more of his senses. The children got the same message. Be open to the joy of water and let it flow through you and your soul to bring you closer to the naturalness of your life. Your other senses will open up with time. Be in the flow. I, on the other hand, was told to dive deep, feel the bottom, be the bottom, and then bring the bottom to the top. Learn to integrate the deep with the shallow. As I got out, I realized this would take some pondering and practice. We all thanked the water and asked what we could do to honor it and the experience. Water said to say a prayer over it to remain clear and healthy for all the living beings, and to ask the nearby flowers in the meadow to please grow closer so Water could gaze upon their beauty more often. We all sat down and set our intent on the flowers, asking them to please consider the request of Water to be nearer, and I saw in my mind's eye some of the daisies and bluebells lifting ever so gently and moving themselves to a sunny place by the water, and then other flowers started planting themselves closer as well. Water thanked them and us, and we then said a prayer over the water and the lands to please take care of the water to always remain clear and healthy to support all life. Seth and Noah said, "Grandma, we're getting hungry from all that swimming and playing. Do you think there's any food here?" I replied, "Since this is the land of enchantment, let's think a picnic to appear and nourish us." We all closed our eyes, concentrating on our favorite foods, and in a few minutes, in front of us was a tablecloth filled with all kinds of goodies: cheese, crackers, chocolate, hamburgers, milkshakes, salad. We all knew who called in each of the foods. We blessed our good fortune and jumped right into this magnificent picnic. It seemed as if the smells and tastes were even better than we remembered, and said this is what Water was talking about, heightening our senses. Spirit always ate table scraps anyway, so he dug into everything without hesitation. Although getting used to hands was an interesting experience. He would pick things up with his hands and say, "This is amazing," all the time. We would laugh and laugh. We all ate till we felt full, and then sent our intention for the picnic to be cleared, leaving no messes on the land. And in a flash, it was all as it was before. How wonderful to manifest so clearly and quickly. Noah, Max, and Seth, and Spirit and myself headed off into a deeper part of the forest, along with Sarah, with much excitement. What could happen next? Who would we meet? All of us were so curious. My wondering was cut short with the tapping on my shoulder. As I looked around, there was a branch of a tree trying to get my attention by tapping ever so lightly on me. I bent my head back to get a better look and found myself peering into two of the most ancient and wise-looking eyes set into the tree trunk. And then I started to stare at the tree, and it smiled. A wonderful moss-filled smile. I called everyone to this experience, and as I was doing so, the tree said, "Excuse me, I don't mean to bother you, but you're stepping on my roots. Would you mind moving over a bit?" Well, we all leaped out of the way of the tree roots, feeling so foolish as to be so unconscious. The tree let out a big sigh and said, "Thank you." "When I was younger," the tree said, "I didn't really feel anyone on my roots as I was so much more hardy. But as I age, I'm over 1,000 years old. I'm a bit more brittle on the edges." Noah and Max immediately started massaging the tree roots, and then we joined in to the glee of the tree. The tree started giggling as the massage tickled the roots and sent chills up the tree bark, making the tree shiver a bit, but she didn't want us to stop. We picked up some moss nearby and rubbed it on her roots, and she oohed and awed. We were all really having great fun. Finally, she said, "Okay, I'm feeling only 900 now. So young and vibrant. Thank you very much. You can stop now." We all stood up, and as we looked at the tree, she looked so much younger, in a fresh bark kind of way. The tree said, "We've been waiting for you. Water sent a message on the wind, and we listened to it and heard about your journeys. My name is Athene, and all these are my sisters and brothers. I am the elder of the forest. All the trees here are my family. We all looked around us, and everywhere was thick with trees of all sizes and shapes. It was amazing to understand that they were all family. Athene said, "You are welcome here in our forest, as we know your hearts are filled with love for all living things. To show you how much we appreciate this, we have a surprise for you." With that, all of us were scooped up by a branch and swung through the forest from branch to branch. We flew in the air high up over the treetops and fell into loving branches that seemed to sway in the wind. I could hear the grandchildren screaming with laughter. I was a bit nervous at first, then let go and flew like magic with everyone else. This was a greeting ceremony, Athene said. We had to be touched by all the trees. It was like a hug. So around and around we went from the inner trees to the outer rim of the forest. We all flew past each other and over each other and were wild with the fury of it all, until finally we came back where we started, to the roots of Athene. Next, Athene said, "Go find some animals and watch them shapeshift, trying to figure out who they really are. You'll have to do this in a secretive fashion, as this process is ancient and a well-kept secret. However, the animal knows you are here, and this is their gift to you, the teachings. So you have their permission to try and watch them. They like to believe it's a secret to make it more fun for everyone." We discussed splitting up, going in pairs, or all going together, and the decision was unanimous in sticking together. So we took off towards a large purple mountain. The day was beautiful, sunny, clear blue skies, a slight breeze floating over us and nudging us towards the mountain. We all looked at each other and in unison sang out, "Wind, breeze, lovely air, is there a message you have for us?" With that, a little dirt devil started forming. As we watched this creation, Spirit noticed a face appearing at the top of the funnel, pointing to it with great excitement. We all looked closely, and it was none other than our Indian shaman friend Seymour, checking up on us, asking us how we were, what we were learning, and how we liked everyone. It was great to see him, and since so much happened to us, that we chatted for a while. Actually, quite a long time, and then continued on our journey. Seymour floated up into the air and disappeared. We were all excited, anticipating our next encounter, and started running through the meadow, thanking the grasses and flowers for being there to enjoy, smell, and make our steps lighter. Seth and Noah started singing to the mountain, asking the purple mountain to welcome us for a visit. We all could hear a little song coming back to us, asking our names and where we came from. The boys sang the information out sweetly, and if we could have looked close enough, we would have seen the words taking shape and dancing on the wind to be delivered back to the mountain. We were so focused on the purple mountain and the haze around it, its layers, that we completely missed the dragon flying down to greet us until it landed softly on Noah. "Wow," he shouted as this gigantic fluffy green dragon with bright yellow wings jumped off Noah, landing in front of us. She was quite shaken, as it seems this was her first attempt at shapeshifting into a flying dragon, and wasn't too sure about the flying and landing procedures. We all asked her what she shapeshifted from, and right before our eyes she became a glowing green snake with purple stripes. She slithered up my leg to rest on my shoulder to see eye to eye, I was told. She said, "My name is Salal." "And you are?" We all introduced ourselves and asked how long she's lived on the planet. Salal said, "Almost 1,200 years. Everyone here is very, 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 very old and are the keepers of ancient knowledge." I asked, "Is there some knowledge you'd like to share with us?" She started moving up and down and wiggling around and said, "Always be there for each other. Remember the deep connection." With that, she slithered down my body and took off into the grasses. She was as quick as lightning. We couldn't even begin to follow her to thank her. I called everyone into a circle to hold hands and breathe together, feeling the words Salal told us. As we did this, a hologram showed itself in the middle of the circle, telling the story of our lives together in a different place and time. One of our other lifetimes, we were all sisters in a large family long ago. We all lived on a beautiful farm in England. We had 2 big sheep, dogs, and horses that we loved to ride together into the woods. What fun to momentarily review that memory in such a real manner. It touched our hearts so much, all the love we shared. Salal is right. We are all connected, then, now, and forever. The images left as quickly as they came, and we continued on our way to the Purple Mountain. We decided to shapeshift into eagles to see the planet from above and move our journey on a bit faster. We all concentrated on changing with the clear image of our new shape, and voila, we were eagles flying. How liberating to be soaring high in the clouds, playing aerial tricks with my grandchildren in spirit. We got closer and closer to the Purple Mountain and found its shape was made of beautiful, sweet-tasting clouds. They tasted like vanilla fudge, almost. It was only thick clouds that made the mountainous shape. It was all quite mysterious. Here we were flying around in yummy-tasting purple thick clouds looking for a mountain. Then we heard that clanging noise from Seymour's cymbals, and all of a sudden the clouds started spinning and spinning with all of us in them. It was like a small tornado. We were all being spun around and around and around in these delicious tasting clouds, heading towards the ground. Finally, the tornado got smaller and smaller until we were all standing upright in a row on the ground, back in our human bodies, except Spirit. He was a dog again. Seymour was standing there holding the cymbals, smiling brightly. He said, "Your trip is over for now. You are welcome to come back any time, as there are so many more people, animals, trees, and spirits to meet. But for now, you must go home, as your family is missing you." We all hugged Seymour and thanked him for our stay, the information we learned, and everyone who shared with us. It was an excellent adventure. The end. This is part of a series that I'm going to be doing where we get into more crazy adventures. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.